having me. My name is Elissa J. Whelan. I am so thankful to be a part of Poetry Night, this community, this church. Thank you, Jeff Robinson, Blake, Phil Neighbors, poets, all of you here tonight. You're all an inspiration. I used to be a bartender here for years. Tip your bartender, please. Back when I was behind the bar, I loved this shift, feeling myself to be a part of the writer community, but not having the guts or courage or whatever it is that gets people up here. Just quietly inspired, in awe. For many years, I've been scribbling away whenever I've had a scrap of paper and a scrap of time. And I finally have a novel to share. It's called The Hold of the Horizon, and I'm so excited about it. I'm here tonight to read from it. I have some copies with me, $15.95 each, so come see me after if you'd like one.
$15.95. You should be charging $20.
It's also available online. During the writing process, my husband Tim said my next piece should be a memoir on the writing of the book. It was a wild ride. Here's what I've come up with. It's not a whole book, but it's my reflection. I firmly believe that art, or capital A art, meaning all creativity of humankind, is a huge part of life, or capital L life, meaning the experience of being alive for everyone on the planet throughout history, and to be creating it is part of the experience of life. At a young age, my parents encouraged me to roam through all the pages our small town library could hold. I've been writing since then. Sometimes, too long goes by when I'm separated from my creativity. The very thing that ushers in my feelings, that make me human and reminds me that I am alive. My creativity helps me grow and learn and process. It makes me who I am. I've done different parts of this writing over the years and wrote a lot during that turbulent period right after graduating college, traveling and figuring out where I belong in the world. So that's what the hero Valerie is dealing with. She's left one confusing relationship behind with college, moves away, starts another. Throughout, she's exploring her relationship with work, friends, herself. Just like me. She moves to Cambridge, to these very streets. Just like me. I remember when I decided I was finally going to pull together and finish my novel that I had been dreaming about since I was a teenager. Early one morning, Tim and I were dragged out to the kitchen of my in-laws' house by our baby and our toddler, our early risers. Again, we were unshowered. Again, we didn't get nearly enough sleep, running ourselves ragged, trying to keep up with the demands of work and parenthood, wanting to be whole and present for the kids at all waking hours, feeling like we were failing, frustrated. A few long hours later, the other normal human adults were just rising. I was standing there at the end of my rope, leaning on the counter as the kids roughhoused with cousins in the background, bracing for a crash, hands clinging to my cup of coffee, which I so desperately don't want to need, and complaining again to my sister-in-law that I just don't have time to think, no time to myself, my brain is not my own, after reading a 500-page book about breastfeeding. All I want to do is write, I realized and said at the same time. You should. I saw a writer's workshop for this summer. It's online, she told me. Could I? Could I dare take one precious hour a week to myself? To reclaim my pen, my brain, my own space, my creativity, my humanity? Around the same time as the workshop started up, both kids started sleeping through the night. And my dreams returned. The lack of sleep with young kids is completely disruptive. It was a dark time. I've always been a vivid dreamer, but I stopped dreaming when I stopped sleeping. Then, finally, slowly, there was the return of dreams. All my dreams, waking and sleeping. Vivid reality, blending truth, and my dream of writing a novel came back full force and couldn't be ignored. And my sister Julia took me seriously. She has sat beside me in darkness and in light, once offering me one of her socks when I was cold, extending half of her own comfort to me. She looked at me with determination for me, gave me her full support, handed me a pen, and took off the cap. And my pen has never felt more like a sword than during this period. I kept telling myself, if you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. I was army crawling towards my goal. Blending the lines between madness and clarity, dreams, reality. What happened? Versions of the truth, memories, fantasies. I doubted myself all throughout the process. I wanted to throw it in the trash so many times. Thank you, Tim, for not letting me. And for all the support as my partner and inspiration as a fellow writer. I pushed through. I kept thinking that I wanted to have something to share with my friends and family, fellow writers, my children. I cling to one diary entry I found of my grandmother's when my mother was born. She wrote, "Is there anything that equals that incredible delight of that first child?" And I kept thinking of Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own, and all the lost novelists and suppressed poets who either lacked literacy or time or privacy to write their thoughts down. But it's 2023. We have smartphones. We have voice to text. And maybe it had to do with turning 40 and frankly, not reading for permission anymore, but taking up space unapologetically.
Woo!
Woo! Woo! There were obstacles to overcome. Virginia Woolf told me about those too. There were heavy rains, power outages with a baby, a flooded basement, a burst pipe at daycare, so many illnesses, unexpected twists and turns. I didn't have time for this. I had a burning passion, but no time. It's hard to be creative. It's hard to be creative because you never know when a gust of inspiration will come. And you have to harness it. Otherwise, it'll gallop off unbridled without its rider into a sunset you may never get to see.
Woo!
I wrote as much as I could during maternity leave, which wasn't much. It was an all-encompassing, difficult, sweet time. Cries punctuated the nights. Cuddles sculpted the days. I thought we'd get into a rhythm. The only one was our little intimacies, mother and child, tiny chubby fingers holding mine, bright little eyes closing in happiness. happiness, smiles and laughter rippling for the first time. Most days, I felt there was nothing to show for all my exhaustion. But then I would look over at him and see that smile that lights up a room and soon the world. Teach them they are loved echoed in my mind as I held him beside his crib, one quiet, sleepy moment longer, swaying in this time only I will remember, his trusting heavy head on my shoulder. I spent a lot of time sleepy, isolated, in my mind. Like Mitch Hedberg said, if he thinks it's something funny but doesn't have any way to write it down, he convinces himself it wasn't very funny. Well, it's 2023. My phone was never too far away. I caught the pieces of this book as they snuck in with the hall light through the crack of my son's bedroom door as I was rocking him to sleep. I caught the pieces as they rained down on me in the shower in droplets, as I saw them shine at me from between the clouds on drives to daycare pickup. I caught the majority in the early morning, before sunrise, in darkness and solitude. Thought bubbles shattered with the first cry, Mama. If you have any desire, follow your creativity because it feels good, because it brings you joy. Just do it. Get into a group, take a class, if that helps motivate you. Take your experiences, your pain, and transform it through your art into something beautiful. Talk about it. Share it. Go. Get a favorite pen. Get obsessed. Just do it. Anyway,